Hey there, you know the drill. This is Discover Your Business Destiny, co-creating, stewarding, and standing to manifest God's divine plan, not only in your business, for other destinies as well. We're going through the table of contents because I really designed this for a reference to, like it's a study book, like you can do it rather than just read it. So if you want to jump to a place, I have it all there in the table of contents. Chapter 6, we are on impact. The energetic forces to manage, because there's other things that are coming against you or that you have to deal with other than manifesting your destiny. And so how to manage those, right? Relationships can power you up or drain you. What are your relationships? Are they on the road to your destiny, or are they stopping you and being a block and a barrier to your destiny? Clearing the clutter, mindset and beliefs, break through barriers and break off limits. I do this with my clients all the time with lie busting sessions. We break through those things that are in the way of their success. Lies that we build belief systems on. I talk about that. Symptoms of hidden lies or agreements in your business. We go through all of that. And legacy. How do you leave a legacy that is God fulfilling? And then shifting culture by you being you and you walking out your destiny through your business. All right, you guys, go to spiritcenteredbusiness.com, click the book button to grab your copy today. See you soon.
Welcome to the Spirit Centered Business Podcast, where we blend the spiritual with the practical for supernatural results. Now, here is your host, Bralynn Newby.
Well, hello there. Welcome back to Spirit Centered Business. I'm here with Gil Hodges for part 2. And if you missed part 1, definitely go back and get it wherever you're enjoying the show, on Rumble and YouTube and all of the other things. And if you can't find it, go to spiritcenteredbusiness.com and look for all of the links to all of the places where you can find the show. Because you don't want to miss part 1. Gil shared their story. We kind of got reconnected, figured out where he's going now. And he also really did a great job on his book called Choice. And so you'll definitely want to hear part 1 if you want to hear more about that. But in this segment, Gil, tell us what you're doing now as far as business.
All right. So I started a company called AI Innovators, and the website is aiinnovators.ai. We've got a Facebook group. We've got a YouTube channel. I'm doing interviews there, just like I've done on Kingdom Talks. And as of the filming of this afternoon, one of the people that I've interviewed, which I'm just stoked, an interesting story how I got connected with him. But he is, if you look at him on the internet, he's credited for coining the phrase artificial general intelligence, and wrote a book with 2 other guys in 2002 talking about artificial general intelligence and the difference between that and the current AI that we have today. So anyway, if you go into
and that'll be on Kingdom Talks Media.
No, actually, you know what? That one will be. I'm gonna put one on Kingdom Talks Media, but
Okay.
not the intent. Otherwise, it's on AI Innovators on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
AI Innovators channel.
And are you okay? So you're not saying anything that are going to get your YouTube channel shut down.
No.
Yeah,
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
It's all pretty tame in that respect, but we do talk about how the large language models that everyone's so excited about right now today, it's not going to get us to what would be called AGI, which is human level artificial intelligence, which, like you and I having a conversation, we could talk about going swimming and the experience that we had going swimming. We could talk about and I say that because your background, I see the water. You know, we could talk about business, we could talk about religion, we could talk about all these different subjects because we're human, we have that ability. AIs today, I mean, we've got great AI that can beat any human being at chess, but it can't play checkers. We've got AI that can beat, you know, people in all kinds, just about everything now, you know, but it's called artificial narrow intelligence because it can only do the one thing. Artificial general intelligence starts to feel a little bit more like a human being, that you're interacting with a human being because they can carry on a conversation, switch different directions. And anyway, so that's who I'm interviewing, and it's that one will be on Kingdom Talks. I'm going to put it over there. But generally you would want to go to AI Innovators channel on YouTube.
Okay, and I will definitely have a link to that in the show notes as well. Yeah, that's good. It made me think of something, but I want to hear your story. I don't want to.
Well,
We might have a conversation about it later, but I want to hear exactly what you're doing in business now.
Well, just with when ChatGPT 3.5 was out, started looking at things and, hearing a little bit here or there about the AI tools. And honestly, I was focused very much in ministry, so I wasn't paying a lot of attention. But some things began to shift. Father began to share with me, the idea of looking into some of these AI tools. And me, I love tech. It just supercharges me. And
I consider myself techie too, but Gil is like above and beyond.
So as I'm looking at all these new AI tools that are just coming out, I kind of reckon this to like the .com era. The .com era. It's like .com this, .com that, this, that, here today, gone tomorrow. We're kind of in the same situation with AI. It's the wild, wild west, and you've got tons of people creating these new applications that are AI driven, mainly off of GPT-4. And they're just running it off of that, but they've done some pretty cool things with it. So it's a lot of good stuff, but very much a lot of it's going to be here today, gone tomorrow, because something else is going to come along and just knock it off before it really even gets started. So we've vetted a lot of those, and not to say that they're not going to get knocked off, but they're on our website under the tools section of ones that I use currently that it takes a while to figure them out. But as I'm looking at all this, I was overwhelmed. I mean, I was just seriously overwhelmed looking at all the different AI tools and trying to figure out, well, which one? And then you got to go through all the process of learning how to use it. And it was just frying my brain. And that's where, Father was saying, there's a need for people that can consult businesses and help them weed through all the different AI tools in order to find the ones that they need for their business. Now, I'm a person, I like to understand a little bit more about how the AI works, although on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give myself a 2. There's people out there that just are totally into it, and understand it. But my question to everybody, especially in business, it's like, I think you remember Gary Henson, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I actually got coached by him way back, way back before I ever met you. And one thing that he showed me that stuck in my head, and it's never gone away. And it was this phrase. It's like, let's pretend for a moment that you're in business to make money. And like, well, duh. But at the same time, I really had to question myself, because I was trying to be so nice to everybody and make sure everything was, done, the way I wanted it to be done, that I really wasn't. I was more focused on making sure I didn't offend anybody than I was about making money. And unfortunately, if you're in business, you're probably going to offend some people. And I don't like that, but that's probably going to happen. But so take that, and let's just pretend, anybody out there who's listening, let's just pretend for a moment that you're in business to make money.
That you're actually planning to profit.
There you go. Right on. So let's just say you're planning to profit. Okay. So do you want to get distracted trying to figure out how AI works? Or do you want to have AI simply work for you?
I just want it to work for me, and I want someone else to do it.
Exactly. And so that's where I'm setting myself up. I'm, to come into businesses to, I'll do a 30-minute free consult just to find out, okay, what is it you're doing? What is it you need? And then you just go through that process with them, so I have an understanding. And then after that, we get into the paid time, where I'll start going through and setting things up for them. Whether there's tools out there, and again, I don't know all the tools, but I know quite a few of them, and I can bring those in to help them integrate these things and get it all set up and running, and then show them how to run it. Because I wish I'd had somebody to show me how to run some of these things.
Yeah.
Because honestly, some of the tutorials I saw, it's like, these are the worst in the world. I'm sorry, but it was funny. I'm like, I had everything figured out on this one AI tech thing, except for this one little piece. And I'm like, I just need that one little piece. Something's missing between here and there. And I go through and I watch several videos, and I'm not kidding. They're moving so fast. They're not teachers. And they're moving so fast with their cursor. I never get to see where their cursor went to click to do that one thing that I needed. I'm like, come on, people.
I know
So a lot
exactly
of
what you're
trial and
saying.
error. And I finally found where it was. And it's like just that knowing that one place to click changed everything.
Yeah.
And so you don't have, so your people out there who want to integrate AI, you don't have to beat your head against the wall. I can come and set those things up, and I enjoy it. I can set them up, show you how to use it, show you how it's going to save you anywhere from, you could probably save 3 to 10, maybe even 20 hours a week, depending on what kind of work you do and what AI can do. I can tell you that I've got one thing that I've done multiple times where if I need to know something about a business, that normally what I can do through AI, that would take probably, I've said between 5 to 7 business days to probably do it manually. It'd just be a nightmare, honestly. I can do it in about 20 minutes with Chat GPT.
Nice.
And so I can get the rundown of a business, I can get the SWOT, I can get their fictional characters, their avatars, I can know what those avatars want, what they need, what's going to take to sell to them, blah 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 blah, and have that all from your company's information, and be able to dial it in, and create the ads that would be needed to draw those people in.
Oh
So
my
it's
gosh, that's amazing. That's really, really good. And
in
that's
20
very
minutes.
helpful. Yeah. And so so are you taking that information off of their website to create that for them? So they would have had to have it on the website already?
Right. So if it's not on the website, that what I just shared would not work.
Okay. All
However,
right. All
there's
right.
another system that I can use, and I'm doing it myself right now. I'm kind of making my own personal setup for the future of AI, because depending on how comfortable you are with it, Stability.ai in April had said that by the end of the year, which, okay, just say 2 years. But he said by the end of the year that they would have a personal AI in everybody's hands, which meaning not having to be on the internet, your phone could do everything that something like Chat GPT does right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which is amazing. Because I mean, I can do it on my phone, but I have to have internet.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're talking about doing, and they don't even, I don't know if, I'm pretty sure they know how, but obviously they know how, but they're taking 100 terabytes of information, and they're able to pull it into 2 gigabytes and put it on your phone.
Amazing. Just amazing.
And they say it's not compression, it's something different. That's all they say. It's
Yeah.
something different.
Wow. Yeah.
But if that's all coming, I want to have a database already set up to where when that comes, I can just say, here's my database of everything I want you to know about me, so
Mm-hmm.
that when I ask you to do something, you already know what kind of music I like. You already know what kind of books I like. You know what kind of movies I like. It's going to know so many different things about me because I get to put it into that database. And I'm doing that now to where it does work even now, but not a little clunky.
One would think that they could easily do that for people who use social media and put all
Mhm.
that stuff out there, just to glean that all off and then,
Yeah.
put it in a spreadsheet or whatever.
Well,
That's
see, with the Descript, well, there's several others. Mm, I'll have to think about it. I can't remember, but there's a website where you can plug any YouTube video in, and it will, in just seconds, it can go through and give you a summary of that video.
nice.
But it'll also give you the transcript of that video.
Hmm.
So there you have a transcript, and yes, you could just upload that. Currently, you could upload it into Chat GPT, and so I'm putting my book up there, so I can then instruct Chat GPT. It says, okay, according to my database of information, what do I teach about choice?
That's good.
and it's going to be able to just go through my book, summarize something, and then if I want to ask specific questions, everything that I input there is available to it. But it's my information. It's not going out to the internet. It's getting it from my information.
That's good. Yeah. So your service that you provide to business owners is beyond mine. Mine is the internal, like, what is the message and who do you really want to play in the sandbox with to be able to get it out of you, I should say, the lies that you were told, the stories, all of that stuff that
Also
you
good.
overcame, and then who you really are called to serve. So once you have that kind of information, then you can go to Gil
Yeah.
and have him,
Yeah.
create blog posts and create social media posts and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. So I mean, as you mentioned, currently what I could do and would do was scrape it off their website. But if they don't have
right,
a
but if it's
website,
not on the website yet, or if it's not
then
correct, yeah,
hopefully they have, a business plan, an executive summary, hopefully they have some of that stuff put together. And if they do,
right,
we just drop it in and we get the same,
yeah.
deal.
Another thing that we should have mentioned this in our catch-up video in the last episode, but I want to tell you that I take people to heaven to establish their business from the heavenly realms by creating their declaration of trade. And
Ooh.
so this establishes and stakes their territory that they want to take and the problem that they want to solve and the people that they want to serve. And it's all based on the evidence that you present in the court of the passion that you have for a thing, because I believe that the desires of our heart are placed in us for our destiny, and it's part of our design, right?
Yeah.
So those things are put into that declaration of trade. So it's really a covenant partnership agreement with heaven. And so that's why I was saying I spend more time in heaven between 9 to 5 with my clients, doing that. But once we've pulled that down and we've co-created with the Lord, then we can use the AI, the technology, to create assets and create material and content.
Big time.
Ah, brilliant. I
Well,
love
and just, FYI, it's interesting because now Kingdom Equipping Center and Kingdom Talks Media, that's something that is definitely much more from my heart. And that's me writing that. But with creating the new AI innovators, I mean, I was actually working on another business, which I've since laid aside. But I was doing 2 businesses in the ministry all at the same time. Could
Oh,
not have
wow.
done it without AI.
Oh,
No
yeah.
way. But with AI innovators, it's like, well, duh. I just tell ChatGPT, it's like, hey, write me an article on the advantages of using AI. Boom, let it do that while I do something else. Come back, looks great.
Yeah.
And so literally, I would say, now obviously I had to, I had an assistant help me put the structure together on the website, but I'm going to say 95% of everything that's on there is written by AI,
Nice.
and it's very well done, very well done. So
Cool. So I suppose that it's already SEO'd, it's keyword rich, and it's all of those things that drive other search engines to find it and drive algorithms because it's generated from them.
yeah.
Am I thinking about that correctly?
Yeah, well, that's another level. It's another step, which I've done on some pieces of the website and on the Facebook as well. Facebook is where I generate my contacts and my leads. So I spend more time there than I actually do on the website, because for me, the consulting is more of a personal thing. The website I'm actually doing another website. It's going to be the AI consultants.tech. That one will be coming up soon as well, but that one it's going to be really focused on the consulting side, to where AI innovators is more about helping, the entrepreneur that's kind of just getting started. There's a lot of tools there that are helpful and fun, and they can be helpful in that way. And then the group is just about open discussion, and so we do discuss all kinds of things. I put one up there today about a guy who's creating AI with a soul. So it opened up all kinds of cans of worms,
Yeah,
and I'm
sure.
like, number one, okay, what's the definition of a soul? I mean, religious leaders can't even agree on what the soul is.
Yeah.
So clickbait basically, but he is doing something of that nature. And so then it brought up the discussion. It's like, well, why would you want AI to even have, especially some of the negative emotions? Because negative emotions basically are built off fear. And fear is based off the idea that somewhere in my future, I'm going to lack something. And that makes me fearful, makes me want to control things. It's like, why would you want to put that in an AI robot or any type of thing like that? That's, to me, fear it's a weakness. Caution, absolutely 100% on. It's like, hey, if something could potentially be harmful, I'm going to be cautious about how I handle that in order to stay away from the harm.
Mhm.
But fear is, one of the acronyms is future events appearing real. It's our imagination getting away from us and going out ahead of us into time and worrying about a situation that has never even happened. It's like, why not use that creative ability to create a pathway, between you and Father and all of creation, to create a pathway that solves those problems along the way. It's the typical thing of getting a bill in the mail, the unexpected bill, and all of a sudden you're thinking, oh no, I can't pay rent. Oh no, I'm going to be homeless. Oh no, all this worry and panic, the fear just begins to rise up. It's the opposite of love, which love brings perfect peace, and fear is not perfect peace. So anyway, why would you want to put that in a robot? Like, don't be dumb. Don't be
Oh my
uh,
gosh. Well, I suppose if you're making, let's just say a doll, toys for kids, you would want it to be able to express sadness so that the child can learn empathy. I mean, I'm playing the devil's advocate here, trying to figure why would you want to put emotions into a
negative emotions. I
negative.
think there are
Well,
helpful
negative and
emotions.
positive are also love and fear based, right?
Right.
Classifying sadness as negative. Well, so you have to, I mean,
It
that's part of the way
Yeah,
God
it would
made
depend on
us
what
to be.
that's over. For me, grief and grieving of a loss, that's a healthy emotion that, we go through. So, I
Right.
mean, and that's the whole thing is like, okay, if we are going to put it in, who gets to decide what we're putting in and what we're not putting in, and who
Yep.
decides,
And
you know,
when it comes up and when it doesn't.
yeah, exactly.
When is an appropriate time to have sadness and when is an appropriate time
Hmm.
to not have joy? And
Yeah.
yeah,
I was thinking compassion would be good.
yeah.
In my mind, compassion would be better than sadness. Empathy, like you said, would be good. Uh,
Mhm.
but anyway, it's
Yeah.
all
Anyway.
it's stuff that we're going to have to deal with, and somebody's going to have to answer those questions. And if
Mhm.
Christians bail out from the arena because it's AI and they're fearful of it, and then it's the next beast or something, that again leaves the whole industry void of the Christian voice,
Mhm.
which I'm just saying, don't do that. We got to be part of this
Yeah, I would say
if you're called to it.
if you're gonna be fearful of technology, the thing that is actually a real scientific threat is the EMF waves that are penetrating our bodies 24/7 because of all of the technology, and there's 40,000 more satellites in the last 2 years or something like that that are circling the earth and sending down beams so that our phones can become more like satellite phones and have more cell coverage. Well, those beams are doing things to our DNA and are doing things to our physiology, and it is a real thing. You know, there's a lot of science behind all of that stuff that is like, okay, well, I love my technology, but do I love it to the point of causing, you know, all of these health maladies and everything? And what is our role as stewards of the earth to not bombard the earth with any more EMF waves? What is our role in stewarding the restoration when
Yeah.
these kind of things are actually deteriorating and causing more entropy and causing, you know, so those are the kinds of questions that that I would say is a more profound way to look at what the rise of technology is doing to the planet and to us as physical, you know,
Yeah.
carbon-based beings who weren't designed to have electricity running through us. You know, I mean, we have our own electricity. We are our
Yeah.
own power plant. So when
Right.
something outside of it interferes, it can cause real damage, and it has caused real damage, you know?
Yeah. So again, I've got a much different picture than a lot of people do. I mean, I agree with everything you just shared. My Okay, let me just say this, that the belief of most people, scientists in the arena of the AI and all that, um, there's a general consensus, and this is, again, hold this all very loosely, but general consensus that there's going to be a dystopia before we reach any type of
Mm.
utopia,
Mhm.
heaven on earth. And
Mhm.
again, is this God's plan? I'm not going to say it's not. And, this could be what he's using, because what would happen if we reached a utopia? And again, I use that word really, really loosely. A utopia where we don't have to work to keep a roof over our heads or to keep food on the table. All of our survival stuff is taken care of. None of that's needed. Now, what do we do as human beings? Well, guess what? Especially the spiritually inclined ones will get the opportunity to focus on that spiritual avenue, to
Mhm.
really go to focus on relationships versus just trying to keep food on the table and a roof over our heads.
Mhm.
We get to really focus on those other things, which I think is a beautiful thing. And I think, and that's one of the reasons I believe it's possibly part of God's plan to bring that about, so that we have the opportunity to just be instead of
Yeah.
do. And
Well,
so with that coming, I would anticipate that the AI, I mean, because they're talking about this becoming a billion times smarter than us over the next 5 to 15 years. That is, that's just crazy.
yeah.
But if it does, and it has our best interest in mind, which we hope it does, but we don't know, but we hope it does. If it has our best in mind, I believe it would be able to figure out ways to protect us as human beings from even the EMFs that are around us everywhere. And
Mhm.
so I just believe there's going to be a lot of problems solved that we have right now that we don't have answers to,
Mhm.
that it will definitely be able to figure out. Because if you want me to go into some stats, to me, it's like, it's nerdy. It's really nerdy, but it's really interesting where things are going and how fast we might get there.
How
But
fast we might get there is it's befuddling and mind-blowing and all
mhm.
of that stuff, astonishing. And um, yeah, so good. You
So,
said something that I was going to remember.
oh,
What
sorry.
was it? Yeah, I know. No. I
I
wanted
keep
to
my
mention.
notepad here so I
I
write
know,
something
right?
down.
I was taking notes until I got started thinking about all of the stuff, but I think that it has to do with the free energy, because I mean, there are already solutions that are being kept from us. I mean, even in medicine and in healing, frequency-based medicine and healing has been around for a long time,
Mhm,
but it's
mhm.
been shut down and kept from us. And literally, I mean, practitioners of it are getting death threats and even being killed. So free energy, it's here. We just have to believe that the engines that our cars run on. Come on, if you look at the cell phone trajectory over the last 10 years, but you look at the car engine and it's the same as 150 years ago, like, nah, you know that they have more,
Yeah,
they better.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's good. Mo Gadot, he was the chief business officer of Google, and he's written a book that if you really want to kind of get an idea of where this is all going, I would highly recommend it. It's called Scary Smart.
okay,
And
scary
to
smart.
me, it's a very balanced book on where AI has come from and where it is and where it's going. But
Mhm.
one of the analogies that he uses is like when they were trying to map out the human genome, they had given it a 14 year, they were guessing like 14, 15 years that they could get it done. And I think that's back in 1995 or something. I'm
Mhm.
sure I'm messing up the dates a little bit, but um, 7 years into it, they had reached 1%. Now, Mo, he was like, hallelujah, we're almost there. And there were other scientists on the team saying, are you kidding me? At this rate, it's going to take 700 years. And he's like, no, you don't understand the rate of the doubling, you know.
Mhm.
And literally over the next 7 years, they finished the project. So it went from 1%, took 7 years to get to 1%.
Uh-huh.
And then from there, 7 years to get to 100%.
Yeah.
So this is what we're dealing with. And the fact is that timeline is getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Right.
And I've only seen, I watch a lot of, videos on, getting more information and understanding things better. I've only seen one or two, and I've been saying this for a couple, a year or so anyway. It's like, what happens when AI meets quantum computer? There's very little information out there on that. But it's a fact that AI eventually is going to meet quantum computer. And when it does that, it's like within a day, it would be game over because here's where this has gone. 2017, now just FYI, quantum computers are kind of like cold fusion right now, at least in the real world of the news and media, is that it's something that they keep saying it's almost here, and then it's not
I
almost here,
think it's
and it's
I
not.
think I think they've been using quantum computers already.
Well, they have, but at least what we have available to us, in the public, they're
Yes,
not practical. They
correct.
they
I would
just don't do anything practical for us, but they are able to design it and set it up so they can do one specific thing, kind of like the artificial narrow
like
intelligence.
Pong. Remember
Pong, yeah.
Pong? Yeah.
So in 2017, they created a scenario that they said that it would take our fastest computers on the planet 10,000 years to accomplish the task. The quantum computer did it in 4 minutes. So
Wow.
that's 158 million times faster than our fastest computer at the time. 2 years later, and this was in China, 2 years later, the Chinese created a quantum computer, and it is over 1 trillion times faster than our fastest computers. So when these things come online, okay, so 10,000 years to do, or 4 minutes to do what it'd take our computers for 10,000 years, and now 1 trillion times faster. I don't know what it is, but it's probably, I'm just throwing out a number, but it's like, okay, maybe 4 seconds to do what would take our computer 10,000 years, or 100 million or 100,000 years, whatever. But you take an AI that has all this information and is already super fast, put that with a quantum computer. It's like all of our toughest questions are likely to be solved in a day or a week at most.
I think that's just astounding. I think that potentially the building of the thing that solves the problem is going to take a longer, but oh my gosh, so cool to think about, and so it is so fascinating to be living in these times.
Yeah.
And when you think about that doubling factor, that acceleration, that's happening with revelation as well, and us
Yeah.
understanding
Well,
the quantum realm as far as Father's kingdom and spirit realm.
I
So
think I shared with you, and I know I've shared it on several shows, but this was back when Kingdom Talks had just started. So 5, 6 years ago, I was worrying. I didn't know what I know now, but I was worrying about AI coming and just thinking, because we're so influenced by Hollywood. And I just tell everybody, just kind of throw 98% of that out, the whole AI taking over and destroying humanity.
mm,
It's a possibility. Yes, absolutely. It's a possibility. But is it a probability? Highly unlikely. And again, there's a zillion different reasons we could go into on that. But so I keep losing my train of thought. Where was I going with that?
you were talking about 5 years ago when we first started and
Oh,
you were
yes,
afraid of
yes.
AI.
Yes. So I was worrying about AI taking over and all that. And it's called the singularity. When AI reaches that point where it is taking over, it's so fast we can't keep up with it, and we don't know what's basically we've lost control as humanity. We are no longer the smartest thing on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And so when that takes over, it's called the singularity. They call it the technological singularity. And it's been moved from 2045, then they moved it to 2039, and now it's at people are arguing between 2025 and 2029 that that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So Father said, before that singularity comes, I will bring my spiritual singularity, where his spiritual technology is going to supersede whatever that is, whatever the technology that we can bring. Because we have to remember, because a lot of people get really worried about all this. And it's like, how big's your God?
Mm-hmm.
Is he in control?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if he is, then either this is part of his plan for some purpose somehow, or either he'll take care of it. Now, he
Yeah.
may ask you to do something in part of that taking care of. So be ready. But at the same time, don't go out and try to do something if you've not heard from him directly.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that is part of the urgency that I feel that we need to get over ourselves so that we can be the full-on maturing sons
Yeah.
and kings and operate in the spiritual principles because we're going to need to.
Yeah.
Like if we don't if we're not able to communicate in the spirit realm with each other and can't jump on Zoom and if we're not able to, it's not going to go well for us. We have to be able to operate in the spiritual principles and maybe even be able to translocate. I don't know what all of that looks like. I'm certainly not doing that right now, but I have to believe that those kinds of things that are clearly in his word that people did, that this is what we're going to not only be doing on a regular basis, but it's going to be imperative that we do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why we need to waken up and get over all of the lies and the beliefs and break things off the bloodline, like I mentioned. And in part one is like we have to be the end, like the buck stops here and we can't let it go forward to our kids, and because we're here for such a time as this, like we're up to bat, this is our time to play the game to the best of our ability and to the best of us, trusting that he's either God or he's not, right? He's God.
Exactly. And that's
God.
what people have to understand is I do ask that question, how big is your God?
Yeah, that's so good.
Because that's why I say I believe in a God who is all powerful.
Yeah.
So it is challenging. The AI stuff, I tend to lean, but only slightly. I tend to lean toward the idea that this is part of God's plan. I mean, it's definitely part of his plan right now because I don't believe he's ever out of control. But this may be something leading up to some challenges that the human race is going to have to get through, and we're going to have to lean on him to do that. There's no way to do it without him. But this also could be, not just a blip, or something that we have to undo, but that it's maybe part of his plan in terms of taking us to the next level. Like I said before, that utopia.
Yeah.
So if we're constantly pushing against it, unless Father tells me to push against something that is, unless it's obviously wrong, then I don't want to be pushing against something without him being the one to say, you've got to do this. And then if it's based off fear, I'm like, already red flags. If I'm pushing against something because I'm afraid, all right, well, that's not God. What's going on? And then to begin to engage with God and to see what he's doing, so that if he says push against it, I push against it, but I'm not afraid of it. I don't have to be afraid of it because he's in control.
Yeah. I don't think AI is the battle we need to fight. I
don't either.
There's biosynth stuff that's in all of our food and in our water and in our air that they're controlling, and they're trying to change DNA, and it's all about the seed war. And I mean, there's other things that are so insidious, and that we just don't even know about, or we just, it's feel like a hopeless situation, that we have to, this is one of the reasons why we pray over our food, is like, oh, break that stuff off, because I don't want that in my body. Let it be, at per God's design, and call your food back into original design, because what you find in the grocery store is not original design, right? There's other things that are going awry that we need to pay attention to. And I don't think AI is, it's just the latest technology. And if we fight against the latest technology, we're not moving forward. Obviously there's good and there's bad, and there's never a hard line in the sand. But Scary Smart is the book that you recommended, and The Invisible Rainbow is a good book that talks about what the EMFs have done to us. And it was literally, they have science that backs when the cell phones were turned on. I think they said it was September of 1996 or whatever. And they have data that shows like higher rates of diabetes and all of this stuff that cell phones cause. I mean, hip replacements because people they keep it in their pocket, and all of this crazy stuff. And I think that these are the things that we need to get strategies from heaven on, as far as, okay, how do I protect myself? How do I protect my home? How do I protect my neighborhood, my family? I mean, can we call a gold Faraday cage made out of gold from Father's treasury around a bubble of our jurisdiction? And will that work? I use that to cover our technology when I'm working with clients and stuff like that, and to block out signals and interference. But can that work against the EMFs? I don't have the answers for that. It's one of the questions that I'm asking the Lord. Okay, so how much spiritual hardware, how many spiritual things can we have the angels shield us with that will work in the physical?
Yeah. And even at that, in understanding that we have choice, and that what Father showed me is when we put choice together with perfected love, you're done. Perfected love is what Jesus walked in. Perfected love. It's the power of God. It's perfected love. He is love. When you become perfected in love, your power of choice is infinite. We've talked about so often the maturing sons. Becoming mature is that you're walking in perfected love, and you understand your power of choice, because those are so critical to understand. Because if you may be walking in, well, I don't think anybody's walking in perfect love.
I don't know about
right
perfect, but yeah.
So, but if someone were walking in perfected love, I believe they're empowered. Now, I don't think you can't get one without the other, I don't believe. But just making my point, if you had perfected love and had all the power, but didn't understand your power of choice, and you turned around and got angry with somebody and cursed them, which you wouldn't do if you were in perfected love. But if you did, you just had the power to destroy and to eliminate because of your choice. So they don't come one without the other. You've got to have an understanding of the power of your choice, as well as when you walk into that perfected love. And so it is the power of choice that gets you to the perfected love, because we cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can control 100% how we respond to those things that happen to us. And that's where we get down to the nitty-gritty of, are we responding in love, or are we responding out of fear or lack or anger, whatever? That's where we've got to turn things around. And anyway, I just, again, AI could be something Father uses to get us to a place where we get to focus on that, instead of being worried about, can I make enough money to put food on the table? Any number of things that can be distracting to us. And unfortunately, to me, the bottom two things, the bottom or the top, whatever you want to call it, are perfected love and choice. When we know those so well, and we've operated in them, and it becomes us, you've arrived. And yet there are so many things that are distracting us, so that we're not really focused on love. In fact, we're avoiding it. I've got a group now that it was one of our Ultimate Impact groups, and we continued on with the idea that, okay, we're in this for the long haul, and we call it the Mysteries of Love group. And it's all about us learning how to love beyond where we've ever gone before. Because most of us, in whatever relationships we've been in, there's usually something or somewhere that we stop. And, it's that calling. It's like, oh, God's calling me to another church, because things got rough, and things weren't going the way I wanted them to go. But for us to just make the commitment that, okay, we're going to stick this group out. We're going to stick it out in order to see what's beyond that place where I've never gone before. Because normally there's a lot of things that have happened in the group that I can guarantee you almost every single one of us would have left the group before. For whatever reason, we would have left the group, not because of anger or whatever, maybe even just because of boredom. It's like, oh, I'm tired of hearing that person talk all the time. Oh, wait a minute. So is that a response of love? There's an area to grow in, so we're focused on how do we learn to love perfectly. And
it's good.
We've all got a long ways to go.
Yeah.
But to me, that's the key.
Speaking of the Ecclesia group, I'm still in the Ecclesia group that you guys started with John Graham. We're still,
oh, really?
We are still meeting every week. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome.
And we have a really cool mandate from heaven and the things that we're working on as far as legislating. So it's all really good. Yeah.
Cool. I love that. Yeah. I've heard of other groups that we've started that are still going, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, Gil, this has been so good, and all of the links and everything that you mentioned, and we're using AI right now to take a transcript of the show. So all of it will be in the show notes. So it's all really good. But one more time, your new book is called Choice. It's on Amazon, or will be on Amazon by the time this airs. You can be found at AIinnovators.ai. You
Correct.
Can be found at KingdomEquippingCenter.com for Sunday morning gatherings, and KingdomTalksMedia.com for everything else. And anything else that Gil mentioned will be in the show notes, wherever you're enjoying Spirit-Centered Business. So thank you again, Gil.
All right. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Until next time, guys, stay Spirit-Centered. Peace out.
Hey there, SCB peeps. I want to give a huge shout out and deep appreciation and thanks to Candace Benton. She has become a super sponsor for the Spirit-Centered Business Show. So I would appreciate you helping me in sending blessings and abundance back to her. Thank you so much, Candace, and you are well loved.
Thank you for listening to Spirit-Centered Business with Bralynn Newby. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. The next stage of doing business by being spirit-centered is coming together in collaboration, working with spiritual principles and knowing our destiny. Join our tribe at spiritcenteredbusiness.com, and we'll catch you on the next broadcast. Peace out.